Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah. You're on. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. It's my great pleasure to introduce our esteemed resource person for today's session, Dr. Harikrishnan. Dr. Harikrishnan is a research scientist at Bangalore and holds a PhD in artificial intelligence from NIT Trichy. Today, he will be delivering a session on generative AI for educators, a highly relevant topic that explores how AI can support teaching, learning, content creation, and academic innovation. On behalf of Sripati Institute of Management and Technology and Department of Applied Science and Humanities, I warmly welcome Dr. Harikrishnan. Thank you, sir, for joining us today.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that warm welcome, and thank you so much for inviting me to have a session, have an interaction with faculty members, research scholars, whoever is attending this session. Thanks to Sripati and thanks to the department. Uh, I think I'll just pull up my screen. So today, I think many of the things which I'm discussing with you guys will be, many of you will be knowing certain aspects and certain technologies which I'm talking about. Many things will be new to you, but uh, the whole intention I'm having today is to introduce to you beyond ChatGPT and beyond Gemini what you have, or is it only ChatGPT or Gemini do you have to use to effectively create contents, effectively do research, do deep research, effectively automate your many administrative processes? Is it something beyond Gemini or ChatGPT, or is there any alternatives we have? What are the best practices to use these things? What are the challenges and what are the guardrails or safety measures you need to uh, think of it? Because we are not the domain experts, or we are, many of us would be faculty members, maybe not even from the AI background. So when you use these tools and technologies, what are the safety measures, responsible AI measures you need to carry out? We will discuss all those things today, and the whole narrative of the discussions would be connected the generative AI and agentic AI tools, how it can be helpful, or how an educator or a teacher or a researcher should know about all these things, not in very detail, but how to use it for your purpose and your use cases is what we will be mostly discussing. Okay. So why should a teaching faculty or an educator or a researcher should know about generative AI specifically, right? What is so important in it that you should know about it, and which can help in, especially in the higher education sector, the way a faculty member in an engineering college should know AI technologies and AI tools differ the way a primary school teacher knows about it. And so my focus is, sorry if there is any school teachers, or I don't think you'll have, but still my focus is towards maybe engineering faculty members or higher education faculty members or researchers. uh, that's the core motive of the discussion. So what is the motivation that you should know about these tools and technologies? Obviously, a day-to-day life of every faculty member in a higher education system at least falls into these four quadrants or four buckets, right? Mostly the core of all. Even I was a faculty member in at least 3-4 years prior to my PhD days. So I know the pain even now. It's the teaching is, say, I would say 30%, but rest academic research, then evaluation and assessments, and the administrative works are more nowadays. So these four quadrants or these four buckets are where most of your time goes into, especially when it comes to teaching. Every time you, if it is a single subject you teach for many years, it's not a problem. Otherwise, you'll have to prepare the new content all the semesters when you get a new subject. You need to create the laboratory experiments, laboratory lab manuals, and each individual student, how do you monitor those students? And then, based on how students learn what you teach, you need to adapt your teaching methodologies. You need to reduce or increase the pace you conduct the classes mostly. And equally important, you need to involve in academic research, right? You need to always be updated with literature, what happens in the domain which you are working on, especially who are doing PhDs and post PhDs. Post PhD is what where you actually start your research life, right? So it will be always a hustle, and it will be always a time taking process that you need to manage both. Preparing a manuscript is not that easy, but now it is easy, which we will discuss. You only need to know your idea and what you need to do. Rest academic literature survey, the literature survey, report creation, comparison, everything you can leverage AI to do it faster. Not, I won't say you should do everything with AI, but make your productivity faster and better using the AI technologies. And obviously, the student evaluation, continuous evaluation. As of now, we know most of the exam question papers which we create. It's even if we say Bloom's taxonomy, even if we say outcome-based education, but I don't know how extent we create the question papers, we create the evaluation methodologies aligned to that rather than a fixed, rigid way of creating X number of questions that gives you 50 marks or 100 marks. Beyond that, how many of you do, it's not our problem. It's because the system is currently doing it, and it takes a lot of time to create innovative assessment methodologies and activities. But with the help of AI, if you have the thinking, that is what you need. You don't need time to do that. You tell the AI assistant to do it for you. To some extent it will do, and then it's all about you verify and approve what it creates or modify it. And obviously the most hectic part for a higher education faculty member nowadays is the a lot of administrative works are coming to the teaching faculty, especially the accreditation works. All the time you need to maintain NBA, NAC, NIRF, KIRF ranking, documentations, etc. Uh, so it's a huge manual documentation work, which is what we could from day one onwards you could uh, entirely automate with a AI tool or a set of AI tools. So these are the four major buckets where you're most of the time in a higher education system for a faculty member or an educator goes into, and each of these points can be um, automated or semi-automated or enhanced by using effectively the latest AI technologies and tools, right? And I have a request, like any point, if any of the participants has any clarifications required, doubts required, you can raise your hand, you can unmute yourself and ask the questions in between. Yeah, no need to wait till the end of the sessions. Okay, so this is, I think now this will be connecting really to you guys where I should use the help from AI to accelerate my productivity, right? Now, you may think, okay, if AI can do all these things, will it replace myself? This is the question everywhere. Even we ask ourselves who are in the industry. we ourselves ask, because newspapers and other places, you will see so many hype which says that, okay, in next 5 years, no software developers. Next 5 years, you don't need a researcher. You don't need an educator. You don't need a teacher. You don't need a doctor. You don't need a driver. But it's not the reality. It's all about the hype that's putting up, the companies are putting up to get that level of AI bubble, but it's not really the reality. All things AI can currently do, or we should leverage it, is to automate the day-to-day repeated tasks. Whatever you continuously do, every day you do, that can be automated with an AI technology, because you're not investing your brain there, you're investing your hard work only. You're not doing anything new. You know what to do. The same thing you teach an AI system, then it will automate that one which you take 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, it will do it in 5 minutes. And that same time you can use it for productive thinking, better planning, better research, problem identification, better teaching ideas. So you actually use your brain, your mind, for thinking something better rather than repeating whatever you do every day. Right. So obviously AI is not going to replace an educator, but it's going to enhance your productivity drastically. Right. You will be the owner of domain expertise. You only, as a human, we only know the empathy about how to mentor different students based on their background, their way of learning, which AI does not. At least for now, they don't have that empathetical mindset, etc. It'll take years to create something like that. And obviously, the physical understanding or physical world knowledge, at least as of now, even the agentic AI systems doesn't have. They are only about creating content, creating next token. But where does AI help, especially in creating the baseline documentations, baseline draft materials, very fast, exponential speed. You don't need to start from scratch. You tell the AI to do it, the heavy lifting. Then you be as a reviewer or a verifier who only approves or rejects the things AI creates, or give the feedback. Based on your feedback, the AI system evolves and do the tasks better for you. So it's always tedious administrative workflow automation, and always the content creation and verification of the content it creates. It's not gonna replace your critical thinking abilities, your physical world understanding, your domain knowledge. But whoever is that faculty member who leverage AI to increase their productivity, they will stand different than the people who still think about that, okay, I don't want to use AI, I will do everything myself. They'll be in a few years, they'll be in a queue where you're at the end of the queue. Others, whoever is adapting to the new technologies, they will just cross you, and they will you'll be far behind. Right. So now that's the motivation why you should know about these technologies, or you should start knowing about these technologies. Now, all the things which you hear now, whoever is not from computer science, or whoever is not from the core computer science background, AI background, you started hearing about so-called AI, artificial intelligence, maybe a year back or 2 years back, post the chat GPT released, and it got widely adapted to everybody as an application in mobile phones. They started seeing that, okay, I can create emails, I can write contents, I can do so many things just by telling it. That is where it started, like, okay, AI. But artificial intelligence is not something very new, right? It's been 100 years plus. You have something basics from the expert systems. Now the agentic AI, the world model AI, all these are part of artificial intelligence. So starting from rule-based if-else mechanisms, then most of us would be knowing about traditional machine learning approaches like regression models, classification models. Then it reached to deep learning aspects, convolution neural networks, artificial neural networks. That's where maybe till 2022, deep learning is where people used to do all their most of the AI related projects. Uh, say image classification, image segmentation, um, image text summarization. There were deep learning models, neural network based models, which you use to train, or you have to train for every task. It's not something like an assistant, or it's not something like you just tell what you need. You're not going to train anything. Rather, you have something as a model which knows about every task, and it can create content. Until deep learning era, it was not that. Deep learning models or machine learning models, it does not create anything new for you. They were deterministic models. You pass an image, you pass a video, maybe you pass a paragraph. It will tell that, okay, this paragraph belongs to academic. It doesn't say summarize your paragraph. It doesn't create a new paragraph out of it. It doesn't create a description of an image you give. They could not do. So that is where the era in 2021, 2022, where transformer based architectures came, which can create content out of the input you give. That's where it called generative AI. Based on the input you give, it can create text, image, audio, video out of it. That's where the generative AI came. That's where it started. As maybe for common people, it is ChatGPT is the one which started, right? And then now from 2025, what we hear, I don't know how many of you have heard it, from generative AI, we are moving into agentic AI. The meaning is generative AI models are like you just send an image to a model. The image model says, okay, this image is about XYZ. It has so many things, blah, blah, blah. It's just you input a content, it creates a output as a content. It's a one-to-one mapping. It doesn't know that, okay, if it is a image of a person, should I tell the user back that, okay, you do something about this image, or you can do something beyond this image? It's like there is no understanding of the environment, there is no reflection, there is no feedback, nothing. When it comes to agentic AI, it's something like this. You want to write a, say, as a faculty member, you want to write a very detailed email, so for a research proposal to submit to maybe somebody, you want to write an email. So if it is a generative AI model, what it will do is you tell the context, it will generate you an email content. That's it. Then you are supposed to copy that, verify that. Then you are supposed to go to an email, your email. Then you are supposed to type this or copy paste it, then enter all the details, send it, everything. But the moment it becomes an agentic AI, what happens is, based on your requirement, the agentic AI curates the content to be replied. It gets all the sufficient documents to be attached from your drive or from your local system based on your permissions. It attach all those things. Then it opens your email. It types or pastes the entire email content, and it asks you for a confirmation, should I send it? So it's beyond just content creation. It is being an assistant which can take actions based on your requirements behalf of you. And you being a verifier, or you being the author, just do an approve versus reject versus refresh or refine the content. So that's the difference between agentic AI versus generative AI. Generative AI just creates content based on the input, but agentic AI perform multi-step actions on top of the content it generates. So it can create an entire plan how to act. It can use, as I said, here it uses email as a tool, email or a Google Drive as a tool to do something. It can do a task repeatedly. Then, based on its knowledge, okay, you have sent an email uh, to a research organization, or you would have sent twice such an emails. Then the agent behind it knows that the way and the tone you use when you send a research proposal. Then a third time it does that, it knows how you did it previously. So based on that tone and that nature, it can self reflect on the previous things it did, and it can automatically improve the way you respond or improve the way you create the content. So that's about agentic AI, and this is what changed the whole landscape of generative AI now. Beyond just content creation, now this is becoming a true assistant to everybody, to every domain. which can do things, which can act behalf of you, which can do tasks beyond content generation, right? So again, why does this matter for an educator? Why should I know about generative AI and even agentic AI? So again, going into the core buckets of tasks which a higher education faculty do in their day-to-day life. When it comes to teaching support, you will be easily and faster just by creating a loop system on a particular topic or a particular lecture. It can, over the night, it can create the whole content for you, generate the dynamic lecture plans and complex unit tests, etc. Then uh, for individual students itself, you can create activity checklists beyond the traditional way you do and enable classroom-wide learning personalization. The meaning is you can create notes, you can create plans, you can create teaching notes for each student separately or a group of students separately. You could have done it previously also, but it's a whole time taking process, right? That's why we mostly don't do that. We create one content that is for the 60 students, entire 60 students in the class. But the level of IQ, the level of learning will be entirely different due to our lack of resources. We will not be able to do it manually for each of the students or a group of students. But with the support of AI, especially agents, by creating the persona of a student, you can create uh, specific personalized teaching contents. It will take some time for you to understand and do how these things, but the my motivation or my objective is to uh, tell you that the tools which I'm introducing, if you use it correctly, if you use it to its maximum extent, you can do all these things. You may not be able to do it today, or you may not be able to do it tomorrow. But once you know it, once you know that, okay, I can do these things faster, try leveraging it, try seeing how effectively it is helping you. Always there is a money involved because as we talk in the future slides, uh, whatever you guys are maybe mostly using is the free versions, but at some point you will not be able to use it effectively with free versions, right? Okay, now moving to the research productivity using agentic AI, you it based on which domain, which area you want to research, these systems can go to internet, can go to all the publication records which are publicly available, curate all those papers, read all those papers, create a very detailed research plan, methodology, everything for you. It reduces a lot of time. We know the pain of doing literature survey. It takes months to arrive to a research topic after uh, doing a thorough literature survey, identifying the gaps, etc. But nowadays it is really faster, right? And it even there are research assistants coming up now, which is called deep research and other AI researcher, etc., which can do the end-to-end process. You only need to tell the problem statement you want to address and your main areas of interest. It curates the what to say all the papers, then it creates a new research plan, it creates the code base for it, it fetches the data if available public data, otherwise it asks you for the data. Once you feed the data, it trains a model, it trains a system, it creates algorithms, it runs all of them, it does the evaluation, it produces the results to you. If you validate the results and if you it looks fine, it will go and ask you which journal you want to publish or which set of journals you want to publish. If you mention them, it goes to those journal websites, get the latex or get the word doc templates, it creates the manuscript for you, and even it can submit the journals behalf of you if you give the permissions. So that's the level where currently we are. And say Google is saying and OpenAI is saying in another 5 years, at least 70% of their even researches will be done by AI. Uh, yeah, and now comes with agentic AI. Obviously, uh, you can create question banks, etc., based on the Bloom's taxonomies, and get personalized student-based dynamic feedbacks And obviously, for administrative efficiency, every time a new subject comes, the COPO mapping, I know how painful it is based on the institutional requirements, based on the university requirements, UGC requirements, AICT requirements, etc. Now, this can be very easily automated by creating an AI product for this, and almost all your time gets saved. You need to just put all the relevant documents, all the relevant things in a particular folder or a particular drive. Then it's all about the AI's job to fetch these things and create the whole documentation and maintain it for you. Right. Now, when we move, we have talked enough about why should a teacher or a faculty or a researcher in higher education should know about generative AI or agentic AI. Right now, what are the fundamentals, or what is the foundation of agentic AI or generative AI? Basically, what can it generate now? I think I have talked about this. It can generate textual content, it can generate visual contents. Textual contents, as in, it can generate summaries, articles, papers, etc. for you. It can generate all the points are related to the education sector. So that's what it can create you the curriculum, it can create you the syllabus, it can create you the books. Even it can write books for you, or it can extract relevant core elements from the books. It can translate the highly complex theorems, lemmas in books into simpler, intuitive languages for maybe first year students to understand better what is quantum physics or quantum mechanics, right? And beyond just creating textual contents, you can nowadays create graphs, pie charts, plots, visual diagrams, architecture diagrams, even videos, audio representations, etc. It can generate, and most of our pain point, I would say, the moment you move to AI, previously before generative AI or chat GPT, etc., people like me, I was from electronics background in BTech, and masters was signal processing. When I started my PhD in AI, there were no chat GPT, there were no Gemini. You had to do all the programming, everything by your own. It was a big struggle for me to do it at the beginning, even though we were doing things in MATLAB. It's not very straightforward to do things in Python or R programming for ML and other things. We had to do it ourselves. We had to spend a lot of time to learn these things. But nowadays, you don't need to learn Python to do a model training. It's all, you just tell which model you want to train, what is the data you want to train. You do it with an AI. It can write the program for you, it can validate that program for you, and it can run the whole system. So writing program or writing code generation is what actually really automated in the whole AI space now. In our company, we currently don't manually code at all. We use Claude and Codex and other tools to do the almost all the coding systems. And we, as a developer or as a researcher, it's all our task is to validate it and approve the code AI generates, right? And so it can generate anything and everything nowadays, right? It's all about the last point which was mentioned here: one structured instruction or one structured prompt, multiple context formats simultaneously. It's all about how well you write your requirement and you inform the AI what you need. It has all the importance. That way you instruct an AI is what matters nowadays, especially for people who are not actually working on AI. You're not going to train an AI system. You're not going to build a entire AI. You're going to leverage what is currently available for your purpose. So it's all about how well you communicate your requirements to AI is what you need to learn. Right now, coming to this, I think I'll take 1 or 2 minutes here, and then I'll move to another screen and I'll show these tools. So maybe I want to ask a question. It's okay if you raise your hand or if you thumbs up. How many of you know about, or you've used, I'll say, used ChatGPT? You don't need to just You can thumbs up or something. ChatGPT. Is there anyone who did not hear about ChatGPT or not yet used ChatGPT? That can be the question, right? If anyone did not use it, also you can. It's not a fault. Okay. So most of us know what is at least ChatGPT, or you have used it like a WhatsApp by installing. Same way, how many of you have used Gemini also is a question. Now Gemini is also very popular, right? So you all know about ChatGPT or Gemini, which are say a chat interface where you can ask anything and you can upload images and ask about that. You can upload a PDF and ask about it, etc. Same goes to Gemini. Is there anything beyond that? There are. So that is what I'm going to show now. If you are not aware, if you are fed up of ChatGPT or you are not getting enough good results for ChatGPT or Gemini, there are similar, uh, what to say, other effective platforms. I'll just show them. There is something called as Perplexity. If you have heard of it, Perplexity is another AI platform, Perplexity.ai. It's another platform. It looks similar like Gemini or ChatGPT. There is a chat space and you can get all your previous chat history, etc. But the good thing in Perplexity is it's really good at deep research. Okay. Again, I'm talking about all the premium versions, which are paid or which are subscription based. But to some extent, the free versions also work. So Perplexity is another one which is similar to ChatGPT or Gemini. The difference is Perplexity is not a single model or not from a single provider. You can see that if you go to Perplexity and see the models, it has various models from all the different LLM or generative AI model providers. You can choose Gemini models here. You can choose OpenAI or ChatGPT models here. You can choose Cloud models, Anthropic models, or you can even use your own models for Perplexity. Right. So this is another very effective tool which can be leveraged to similar way you use ChatGPT or Gemini, you can do this. Another one is this is the very popular one nowadays, especially for code and day-to-day activities. If you have heard about Anthropic, which is a similar to OpenAI, which is the company that has ChatGPT, and Anthropic is the top best AI company now. It has even has a valuation that is beyond OpenAI. And Anthropic has, especially because if you have heard of Cloud Code, because of that, Cloud Code is they have created an entire agentic system that can entirely automate the code generation, code review, code analysis, everything for a developer. So they also have something called as Claude.ai. You can use your personal email to log in. That is again another chat space. Like it'll come something like this, right? Again, free version you can use. You can use it. You can choose different models they provide, and you can ask it to do anything. And I'll go to this in Gemini. So most of us would have done something like typing some questions here, maybe uploading an image. I don't think most of you would have leveraged the capabilities of such AI system. Beyond that, you say when you come to Gemini, uh, maybe let me show you. All these systems behaves almost similar way. They all have a chat space. They all have support to choose your models, and they all have, since they all are agentic now, it's beyond just chat. That's what I said. If it is just a generative AI system, it used to be 2 years back. You just type something, it replies back. But now it does more than that. It can you can upload documents. It can refer to those documents. You can connect it with your emails. You can connect it with your code systems, etc. And you can use more tools like uh, deep research. Say, let me start by doing something like a deep research. So every AI tool, whether it is Gemini, I think my screen is my stream. Screen is switching, right? I'm sharing my whole screen now. No?
No. Okay. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. No. So yes. Now, so when it comes to perplexity, also, if you go to this plus option, you will see uh, connectors where you can go. Here, this is what web plus academic. If you click and ask for a topic, it will do a very deep research. ChatGPT also has something called as deep research. If you click this and ask anything, it will do a literature review, right? Same way, Claude also has something like, I don't know whether it is available for free version, uh, but still, let us. The free version does not have deep research, but deep research is what, for a researcher or an academician who wants to quickly get hands off knowing something very recent about any topic, right? It will go to all the public data. So let me try something about. It will take time. That is the problem. I want to create a latest literature report about progress in generative AI to agentic. Yeah. Please refer to the papers, publications that came recently from 2024 to 2026. When I do this, it's not like a regular chat which you get instantaneously. Now this is beyond just a chat. It creates a plan, and then once you approve your plan, right? So the plan is something like this: research websites. Okay, I'll do an agentic AI literature progress search. It'll go. I'll do a search for research papers, surveys, and publications from this year to this year, detailing the transition. Then identify key technical paradigm changes. So it lists 7 plans to do the literature survey. Then I will analyze the report results and create a full report for you. So if you are fine, you can do start research, or if you want to edit the plan, you tell that, okay, do something beyond. Okay, so we will do something like, okay, on point one, do it only for 2025 to 2026 papers. And for, yeah. So this is where you see this is a free version, so it doesn't understand it really well, or it hasn't ran. Yeah, so now you see the plan has changed from 2024 to 2025. Now if we approve, and we will approve and keep it. So the moment you approve it, you see that right side there is a uh, space which is getting opened, and you can run. It will create the report for you, right? So this is how quickly you can do a deep research, and it will give you an entire report after, say, depends on how deeper you want to do. So you will see that the papers which it is currently referring by looking at Google search and other things. You can see almost all the archive papers and related to that area. It is doing the web search and collating the information, and finally it will create the report, right? And assume how much time you will take it to do these things. It refers to everything: YouTube channels, YouTube videos, blog post, Reddit things, everything it refers and do it. So all the spaces like ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, everybody does the similar way. The underlying model that uses is different. In Gemini, they will use only Gemini models like Gemini Flash Pro, etc. OpenAI will use ChatGPT version models. Perplexity, you can choose the model and you can leverage each of the model. Now, if you try in Perplexity, if you try, please do a literate survey about the latest progress in generative AI to agentic AI by using contents from recent years. Yeah, we can see that. See, they are saying the question looks like a bit difficult and go for a pro version because as these all are paid things, they always try you to pay and get the subscribed one. Now you can see Perplexity did it very faster, uh, but it varies, depends on the whether you use a base plan, a free plan, or a subscription plan, etc. But everybody does the same thing. It goes to internet, fetches the data. So what we do is in our company, in our applied research team, we leverage at least 2 3 different deep research methods for our research, and we collect all those research report all of them creates. Then as a human researcher, we compare each of them, we go through the findings of each of them and see how similar they are, how diverse they are they entirely making nonsense things. If everybody makes nonsense uh, report, then you don't trust. But if all of them are almost talking in a similar landscape, similar nature, we can think that okay, that literature survey is proper. You can work using that literature survey. You can go beyond and you can do your further tasks. So this is how. See, you can see that Gemini is taking time, or it's still creating a larger report, right? So this is how you can start doing your literature survey. Uh, it's you will get better literature report if you feed better input context. Say, even if you have 5 or 6 papers, it's always better that you upload those 5 or 6 papers using upload files, then ask similar to these papers for these years, what are the things happened, how the landscape changes, how the new technologies came out, so that these deep research agents use that as reference and gives you a specific literature survey. As of now, what we have asked is, if you look at it, is we just told it to do a uh, research about generative AI to agentic AI progress and use the papers, contents, everything from 2025 to 2026. We did not give any specific paper. We did not give any specific generative AI topic, whether it is multimodals, audio, video, etc. Nothing. Right. So it's a vast area, but still the agent will do that and come back to you maybe in half an hour or 45 minutes, depends on how extended it searches. So that's about deep research in an AI space. Now, say we are not doing any deep research, I'm going to a new tab. Now, what I need is, say, I want to create a curriculum plan for quantum physics. Okay. That is for a first year Bachelor of Engineering students. Can you please draft? Okay, so my question is, and another advantage is even if you type things wrongly, LLMs and agents are very good at understanding the semantic meaning. Spelling mistake doesn't cause any harm nowadays, right? So my question now I'm asking is, we have done with the deep research and how you do it. Now it's not deep research, it's about creating some content that is for your technical thing. So I'm going to say Sripati is turning autonomous in another 2 years or 3 years. You will have to create your own programs, you will have to create courses, you'll have to create course content, curriculum, syllabus, everything, right? So how about I create a quantum physics uh, curriculum plan that specifically I want to teach a quantum physics in a first year itself, right? So I don't know you if you have seen something like Gemini has something as a option. If you go to more tools, there is something called as Canvas. Whatever you ask to Gemini, instead of giving it in a chat space, it will automatically create a Word document for you if you enable Canvas, right? So I'm asking this and entering this. Now you see, you may not get your output in the chat space. Rather, you will definitely get a Word document itself, which you can directly push to your drive. See, right? How easy now. And I did not specify anything beyond. I just specified that I want a curriculum plan that is on a topic or a subject, quantum physics, that's for a first year Bachelor of Engineering. So we have mentioned who is learning the subject, what year they are studying, what is the subject, right? Nothing beyond. Now if you know that okay, these are the books mostly quantum physics refers to, you can pass the link of those books, you can upload those books, or if the links are available online, you can submit the online links. They will refer it and creates that. Now that is the revision you do. Now you know that okay, if you as a subject matter expert who knows quantum physics, you will go through this subject plan or the curriculum plan, right? Even though we did not ask for syllabus, it has given a short syllabus, and it has also given primary textbooks to refer. I think this is exactly how your syllabus looks like. You can pass a syllabus or a curriculum template also. We have KTU approved curriculum templates, right? You can pass the template so that it will create it for you. Now say you want to refine it. Now it's all about either it Gemini or ChatGPT or Perplexity gives you an option. Now you can manually edit duration. Say I'm editing the duration to 18 hours. The credit is I want to change it to 3 credits, or I can chat here to change major edits. And the better thing is, or the advanced method is, same like how you do it in Google Docs, you can do so many things here itself. Or what you can do is you can create now based on this content itself, you can create an audio overview of the subject. You can create a quiz out of it. You can create a web page out of it, just to introduce to your students to a flashy, uh, very attractive way to introduce a new subject to your students. You can create an infographic out of it, you can create flashcards out of it. Or the other one, you want to push it to your drive, you can just click here and export to docs, meaning it will open in your Google Drive, right? So it's an agent that has access to your drive. It has created a content and saved it in your drive. It will be always there for you as a curriculum. Now you can edit your own here. You can share it with your principal. You can share it with your HOD after you do review. Everything you create is, say the heavy lifting has done by the AI. You are not typing the curriculum. You are not manually creating the Google Doc. The draft has given. But what is, as a faculty member, your responsibility. It is to go through these, because it's an AI creating the content. It can entirely hallucinate things. There is high chance it can hallucinate. Your work is to, as a reviewer, review these things, correlate that with whatever you expected, correlate that with the other syllabuses, other curriculum it is, or other curriculum plans other universities has, or your separate department has, and validate what the AI created. That is your job. The moment you think that, okay, this is perfect, after your review, then only approve this, or then only you share this. You should not blindly believe what AI created and just share it, because the responsibility is not AI's responsibility. The responsibility is whoever is the author or content creator. You are the responsible person for whatever mistakes AI has made, right? So what I want to try communicate here is, Gemini has something called as Canvas. If you don't know, where if you enable Canvas, if you want to create a content, it will directly create that content for you. It will create the quizzes for you. It will create the flashcards for you, everything for you. And it has an option to export, or you can copy the content, or you can share it to other people. Everything is possible, right? So that is one feature I wanted to show you as Canvas in Gemini. For any content creation, you can create PPTs, right? Now let's see on the same, we have created a curriculum plan. Now for the same curriculum, can you create an overview slide, say three to 4 slides, that I want to showcase to the students to inform about course and its opportunities. And it is always recommended that if you're doing something about one topic, say you want to create first a curriculum, then a syllabus, then a course plan, then maybe materials, do it in one chat space rather than doing it in each chat space, because the agent behind it knows the whole context. Yeah, you can see that now Gemini has opened the canvas and it is creating the slides for you. In fact, uh, this whole slide, what I'm presenting today, is created by Gemini. I had shared some documents, some contents to refer. Rest everything was created by the uh, Gemini 3.5 Flash Pro, uh, based on my requirements. Say after 2-3 rounds of revisions, etc. That's where we are uh, seeing the content. See, you have got the slides for you. How much time it will take you guys to create your own slides? See, it has even added clear milestones, career opportunity, and then it is referring to what image. Since we mentioned only 4 slides, it has put everything together in one slide about what is quantum physics and why should I know about it, right? So the whole purpose of this 10 to 15 minutes is to introduce to you, in Gemini as well as in Perplexity or ChatGPT, you have something called as Canvas option. I prefer people to use Gemini more for all these things because it has more free tokens available for um, larger audience, and it does these tasks faster. Okay, so if you liked your literature survey, which was done by Perplexity better, copy that, put it in Gemini to create a curriculum or create a code, etc. So you can use multiple tools, use some from one to another. So for literature survey, Perplexity search is way better if it is paid one. For free, I cannot recommend anyone specifically because everything is free. When it comes to paid versions, Perplexity search is best for literature search. ChatGPT is best for normal content creation, normal text and other things. Claude is very much better for coding and other related things. Gemini would be, I would say, it's good for everything. It's not best for a specific thing, but it is fairly good across everything. Right? So, yeah, this is about deep research, as well as let's see what deep research results we got for our previous question, right? Uh, See, you got a excellent report. Here also you can export, share it, and you can uh, make maybe ask infographics. You can create infographic out of this entire report. You can create a quiz out of the entire report. Now you see the report is whole very detailed. It has added almost every recent updates happened in the AI space on generative AI to agentic AI, and you can see how much literature it has referred, around 100 plus literature, including papers and other things, right? So it has done it in 10 to 15 minutes. The thing which you take it 20 days, in 10 to 15 minutes, you have a report and you have all the papers also. You don't need to blindly believe it. You can read it. You can go through each of the papers, and it reduces the time you take to do the first milestone in the academic research, which is the literature survey. Now, moving back to your our slides. So we were talking about uh, different tool configurations, and these recommendations are, there is a disclaimer, it's not universal recommendations. When you use a paid subscription, these recommendations are advised but not strictly enforced, not for anyone. It depends on how your experience when you use these things for your use cases, which we discussed, right? We will be in detail discussing about Notebook LM, which is again from Google. That really helps an educator so much beyond the chat spaces which we have discussed. Notebook LM is something that actually meant for non-technical people, for domain specific, content specific, grounded content generation based on the content you give. It can create you PPTs, it can create you audio descriptions, video descriptions, quizzes, everything, right? And so we will move to that also. Now, beyond that, what is the one thing that always need to be very careful when you use these tools, or that one thing changes the way it creates the content or it do the task for you? That is the prompt, the instruction which we type, right? So here we typed certain instructions for the literature survey. How clear you give this is the whole dependent on what or it is the whole dependent thing that decides how good your literature report is. So it's all about how well you write prompts. This is an entire area, different topic. The effective prompting strategies for generative AI and agentic AI is an entire different topic. But quickly saying that is, say, think of this example, right? Instead of just saying, write a literature or lecture about neural networks, which is very wide, very broad, and you are not saying who's the audience, what level of depth you need to have on your lecture, what should be the structure of it. You give all those details. You see the right side. Act as an AI professor. So that's a persona. Always when you say something, I did not say that, you tell the AI to behave as a domain expert. So if you want to write something about neural network, ask it to behave as an AI professor or an AI teacher. Then create a detailed 60 minutes lecture plan on feed forward networks for CS juniors or CS first year students. That includes 1, 2, 3, 4 topics. So it's a structured instruction rather than vague instruction, so that it does not allow model to think in a broader thing. Rather, it focuses and creates the content for you, right? So this is very critical thing you need to think of it when you write your instructions. Now, this is what the anatomy, generically the anatomy of writing an effective prompt. This you can always remember this whenever you write something, especially for your four components, major components, like teaching content creation, um, research content creation, continuous evaluation, assessment methodologies, and your administrative tasks. You know what you want to create. So feed that information in a structured way to the AI rather than just blindly saying things. So always, first point is define the persona or role that act as an expert curriculum designer with specification in outcome based engineering education. So you're fixing how the AI should think. That is the role or persona. Then define your task, what the AI has to do, the primary objective and its following objective. So that is the task. First role, then the task, then comes the context or the constraint. What are the limits or what are the boundaries the AI should limit to? Who are the specific audience that are reading or listening to the content you create? What way up to it should search? So that comes into the context. And finally, what is the format you are expecting the AI to create the content? Is it in a Word document you need? Is it in a JSON format you need? Is it a quiz you want to create? So these things, if you clearly specify, again, you can leverage an LLM like Gemini, etc., to create this. You say if you go to the same problem statement, uh, so we will know how you can leverage same Gemini to create a better prompt that you can use, right? So we have asked here, we have asked this as a prompt. Now, how can I make this prompt? Now, make this prompt better in such a way that it follows four major aspects of prompting. One, the role and persona. Two, the task, mission. Three, the context. What did we say? Context and constraints, right? Constraints and audience. Four was format. The optimal prompt. Now, instead of you say something as very vague prompt, now the AI itself has given the best prompt so that you can get a very detailed, very clear uh, content created for you. So you need not, you don't think that, okay, the first question I used to have um, uh, many years back or in 2023 early when we started generative AI is how do I write better prompts? That time you had to write it manually. Now, since the AI itself is very good at all these things, you yourself can ask AI to create better prompts for you and use that prompt to create the effective content for you, right? So you need not, you should know this is the anatomy of an effective prompt. Then for your use case, prompt the AI to create effective prompts for you, then use that in a different session to create content, and then based on that content you revise your content, right? Now we talked about why should you know generative and agentic AI? What is the core methodology behind it? For an educator, it's mostly writing good instructions and providing enough context and content in terms of documents, in terms of web URLs, in terms of ABC, other maximum context you can provide. Now we are moving to something like practical application workflows, right? How for each of your tasks, how you can leverage AI or these tools effectively. Now going to lecture note preparations, uh, how can I create lecture notes or lecture preparations really faster? If you follow this, right? So uh, say we have created the lecture plans for um, quantum physics. You have approved the quantum physics syllabus and course outcomes. Now you want to create an entire lecture blueprint, maybe a PPT or an entire notes of that subject. How can you do? This is what we are saying. The context for the agent is your syllabus and the COPO mapping, etc., whatever documents you have. Then you create the anatomy prompt, which we mentioned. And the anatomy prompts means this way of prompt, efficient prompt. You create that prompt, you pass the prompt along with the documents you have. Obviously, Gemini will create, or any agent will create you the in the canvas, it will create the entire lecture notes for you. You review that and approve it. That's it. Maybe in 3 to 5 minutes, you have your notes ready. Only thing you need to do is you need to go through the notes from beginning to end, read the whole notes, see whether it says anything ungrounded, which means is it making any lemmas, theorems, any content which is not at all relevant or not at all related to the topic? Is it something entirely hallucination? That is what your work is. Your work used to be, the whole thing used to be time taking, 1 day 2 day time taking process used to be typing the whole notes or writing the whole notes, putting it relevant things, creating a doc file, converting it into PDF. That entire labor is automated in minutes by the AI, right? So what you will see the deliverables of the AI automation here. I don't want to go through each of them. I would urge you all to read these things, but this block diagram is what uh, really helps you to start with lecture note preparations. And you can try this your own in Gemini, maybe today or tomorrow. Right now, generating teaching materials. Faculty input. What are the things you need to pass for creating teaching materials? Maybe syllabus. Then what level of content you need. Then how many hours you are going to teach, or is it for 1 semester, 3 semesters you need to pass? All those information you pass, AI is going to give you the entire lecture notes. So this is a continuation of what we discussed previously, right? Now, if I want to create multimodal contents, as in images, videos, etc., layout, circuit diagrams, ChatGPT supports that with image option. Gemini also support that with image generation, right? If you go to Gemini, uh, we have something like create image in the tools. If you click on create image and ask it, it will do that create image. If you go to ChatGPT again, plus if you click create image, there is an option. The best places to create images is either Gemini or ChatGPT. They have dedicated LLMs behind it to create images based on your input. So, yeah. Now I'm going to a couple of engineering branch examples, right? Engineering examples. So I want to create an RCC beam design lecture notes. So this is easy. Like you if you look at the prompt, it's again the same prompt. The persona or role, the task, and the the constraints or the context. So it requires you to think as a structural design engineer or a professor and creates a 60 minutes lecture notes. And it creates you the lecture notes by the assumptions that limit state design and straight as distributions will be there, and the equations, the whole core equations of the neutral axis, depth, and structural moments. So the point here we want to cover is, as deeper your instruction based on the engineering domain, the better you get your lecture notes. And it always creates you AI derived assessment elements also. Like once it creates the lecture notes, it's easy for you to create assessment methods specific to that particular subject, specific to that particular 60 minutes lecture itself. You don't need to create a assessment methodology for your entire subject, but rather for that 1 hour talk itself, you can create effective small assessment methods and assessment elements using the same subject. So it's the same when it comes to mechanical engineering also. If you want to create something about thermodynamics, you go ahead and do it in the same way. Goes for electrical also, it goes the same way. Computer science also, maybe core targets, the 4 topics which you want to focus, maybe Python, data structure, database management, and machine learning. And AI creates the whole code section for you to run, and it also debugs the code for you, maybe for a specific uh, machine learning algorithm. It can create the code for you, and you just need to run that code in a code interpreter and see how effectively it is coming out. Right now, I am introducing to you, people who are not aware, a very effective tool that is available in your Google workspace, beyond Gemini, beyond ChatGPT, that can really help you. Maybe most of you would have heard of it. I have nothing else to introduce to you all, you guys, because this is something which is very efficient, very effectively useful for all the educators, which is called Notebook LM. Uh, how I find people who doesn't know what is Notebook LM or how do I open it, it's that you all know how to open your email, right? If you go to your email and if you go to this 9 dot square, and if you come down, Gemini has added so many new features. Okay, so many new features. And if you come down a lot bottom, you will see something like this: Notebook LM. Notebook LM is nothing but, if I go to the slides, right? Notebook LM is an entire, you can think of it like your course knowledge base. Say it's a agentic system that acts on the source documents you provide. Say think of you being a physics faculty at the beginning of your semester, before the class starts. So you're taking the class for last 5 years. You will have 5 years lecture notes. You will have the previous question papers. You will have answer keys, syllabus, curriculum, everything of it. Go to Notebook LM like this, go to create new, it will open something like a new notebook, and you have something like this is what we say it as sources. It's entirely working based on the sources you provide. Upload all the previous semesters or previous year notebook notes, PPTs, everything here. And then it's all about you chat what you want to create out of it. So it Notebook LM doesn't create anything out of its own memory or its own thing. It's entirely based out of what is the source documents you provide. It uses the source document. Then if you enable web search, it uses the web search. Or if you enable drive data, it uses the drive data and create various contents for you. It can create an audio overview, say uh, on the same physics, you have uploaded all the um notes of last X semesters, etc. Now you want to create a 5 minutes audio overview about the whole subjects. It can do that. It can create a entire new stylish slides for the new semesters because you are bored the way you are teaching that subjects for last 5 years. Now you want to create something novel to attract the students, to make the students more aggressive towards the way you teach. So it can create the whole slides for you. It can create an entire shorts video mock-up of the whole subjects. It can create mind maps out of it. It can create different reports. I don't I it's a time taking process. It will take 5 to 10 minutes. If it's a video, it will take half an hour. So I can't do that. Now we can create an entire quiz, whole quiz out of the entire subject. So think of it like this: the first day you're starting your class, you don't want to start with the subject. You can create an interactive, very interactive quiz session because they are coming out of +2. They know about physics. Make a very, you know all your content uploaded. You can ask Notebook LM to create a quiz, not to test their deeper knowledge, just to test their interest. Create very interactive, uh, engaging, maybe 10-15 quiz that you can discuss with your students and get their feedback or get their answers, so that it will be a very interesting start for you to refer to last 5 years context, 5 year questions, 5 years, how the students responded, feedback, everything. It's a tedious process, but for Notebook LM, it's all our healthy resources. Based on those contexts, it will create the quiz for you. It will create the graph. So assume you are passing, for your own analysis, you want to know last 5 years on my physics subjects, how is the performance of my students, right? You want to visual graphics. You need to know how many people scored excellent, how many people scored less marks, what are the areas or what are the subjects, or forget about subjects, we are talking about single subject. Within the subjects, what are the levels of questions? Is it part A, part B, part C? Most of the students fails. It's again a entirely different data analysis problem, but if you have those data as an Excel sheet or something, if you push those details, you will get very effective reports with infographics from Notebook LM if you ask that way. So it's an entire knowledge base creation tool. I would suggest you all. I was amazed when I talked to one of my friend, schoolmate. She's a higher secondary teacher now. She's really using Notebook LM for past 6 months. I was really surprised. And maybe if any one of you are already using it, try helping your peers, try helping your colleagues, and try to make them understand how effective Notebook LM is to create content for you. Everything you need to do is push maximum documentations you have about the topic which you want to create better contents. Without that, it will hallucinate, it will create its own. Okay, so I'm not showing any demo here, but let me show something which I created. Say, I have, I think this is a syllabus which I downloaded for physics, because I am talking about physics here because the FDP is organized by the first year. So I thought I'll talk about physics. I just uploaded the engineering physics syllabus. Okay. And my question was, the moment you upload sources itself, Notebook LM will summarize the syllabus or summarize the contents for you, and it will ask further questions. What I asked is, okay, by referring to the course syllabus, please create an interactive 1 minute quick video with audio narrative about the syllabus, so the students and the key out to the students along with the key outcomes they get once they learn the course. It's like your syllabus itself will have, right, outcome, course outcomes. So I, instead of text, I wanted to have a very interactive quick video that talks about the syllabus. So Notebook LM can create an entire video for you about the syllabus. That is just I wanted to tell you. And now I also further asked about create a quiz about it, right? So the quiz, it created 6 questions. I did not answer any questions, but retake quiz if you give, and you can share this also. You can go to each of the questions. You can review those questions. So it's all about just using the syllabus. It has created the quiz. Now I can create a slide out of it. I can create infographics out of it. That at the moment you push more details. This is the whole workspace where you have all your context, and the notebook LM agent has every knowledge about that subject, that student details, everything, and it can create novel contents in terms of various formats for you. So I would request, if you forget everything else, don't forget Notebook LM. Today itself, try Notebook LM, but don't try it now because I have some guardrails discussions to be mentioned. Especially when you use free version of Notebook LM or Gemini or anything, there is always certain things you need to take care about, especially when you upload college documents, student details, etc. Do it only after we discuss all those things. Right? So that's about Notebook LM, your core entire course knowledge base. So what it can generate, I'm not going into what it can generate. Now we are moving to next section, which is assessment and accreditation. Say we 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 talked about, that everybody knows this, right? Nowadays, outcome based education is entirely based out of Bloom's taxonomy. The way you create the question papers is also X percentage of the questions should be remembering, then understanding, then application and analyze. This taxonomy has to be really respected when you create the question papers. And this is a very critical point when NBA, NAC accreditations, they focus. I'm not sure whether we are actually following this when we create question papers. What I see, or I have seen, and I have done myself maybe years back, 17 and 18, we just add a remember key word in the question, or we just add an analyze word in the question. That becomes the Bloom's taxonomy analyze bucket. But whether the question really tests the analysis capability of a student rather than just putting an analyze word at the beginning of the question, those two are entirely different. So if you leverage Notebook LM based on your notes, previous questions, etc., it will be very easy for you to actually curate your question papers, which is the first fundamental assessment methodology that entirely respect the Bloom's taxonomy, right? So it generates rapid recall checks for standard class baselines and compose analytical scenarios requiring formula transfer. As I said, it really applies the Bloom's taxonomy rather than just forcing the keywords in the question papers. So now, how do you do the traditional assessment versus AI assisted proper authentic assessment? The shift assessment focuses from basic definition recall to verifiable higher order critical thinking. I think I simply mentioned the same, right? Instead of putting the keywords in the question and rest everything remains same, you use the scenario based context, problem centered on industrial case situations, uh, rather than textbook questions. Connect the subjects with industry. This, we know all these things should have been done, but we don't know, or don't have that enough time to focus towards industrial problems and align your subjects, your topics, your notes, align to that and test your student skills. But AI can do it really faster, right? Now Rubik's generation for continuous evaluations. So especially when it comes to lab experiments, you don't have any Rubik based evaluation. It's again very plain, X number of experiments. Whether the student writes the experiments, 10 marks. Student performs that particular lab test in a particular manner, 20 marks. Whether the student asks, replies to 4 questions, 20 marks. Done. This is how most of us does or doing the lab evaluations also. Beyond that, is there anything better you can do with an AI generated Rubik's? Technical system accuracy, measuring calculation correctness, stability, and compliance levels. So you create that Rubik's structurally defined for that particular lab rather than following a same pattern for 10 years. You yourself can create better Rubik's, better measurements for lab tests using AI. Only thing you need to provide is the details about the lab, the syllabus, the nature of experiments you are carrying it out. Maybe use the test manual or the lab manual which you can provide. Right. And now, how do you support the outcome based education using AI? Especially the accreditation related things, right? Course outcomes, program outcomes. So what you can do again is you know the course outcomes, you know the program outcomes. You have the what you really achieved, as in the student feedback forms, the student assessment matrices, the students' marks sheets, maybe the Excel sheet which you maintain the students' marks across, say, two series in evaluations or maybe the final end semester evaluations, etc. You have everything. You pass all these things to an AI, then ask the AI to map the CO and PO with respect to what you achieve to the attainment analysis metrics which NBA asks or NAC asks. You don't need to manually create it. Rather, you put all these as a context to the agent and it creates it. And every semester you do this because I think you may be doing using Linways mostly for your NBA related things. Linways is yet to get updated with agents or AI, but definitely I feel that all these solutions will evolve and they will have all these systems. So in such a way that every time you enter student marks, the agent uses the student marks, agent uses the course outcomes and program outcomes, agent uses every additional input you pass, and it continuously revise the report for that. Say based on the criteria as NBA process, based on the criteria NIRF process, it will separately always analyze and continuously refine the documentation you want, rather than you do it at the end of third year, right? The just 1 month before we do the NBA accreditation, we used to do a lot of hassle, lot of efforts to create the documentations ready. Rather, we could have done it every month or every 2 months, but due to the resource limitations, due to other commitments, we will not be able to do that heavy lifting work. But if there is an agent, there is an AI which can get the details, only the raw documents, it will do all these things to you. You can do a review every 6 months so that at the end of 3 years, you don't need to create the sources again. You don't need to create the documents again, but AI has everything with you. Right? You can even have a students can create maybe a project out of it, I believe, which can really help faculty members. Now, finally, maybe we have talked more about administrations, teaching, and assessment related. Moving to research productivity, how do you do? I think I started it with scientific discovery or literature research, right? It can do beyond that. As we said, it can do literature survey, it can do manuscript creation, it can create presentations, everything. So traditionally, how you do manual review, it's you search a lot of, usually we do Google search or Google Scholar search, get all the papers, manually download each of them, linearly you read each of them, uh, which takes a lot of time, and citation creation is the hectic thing, right? But all these things, AI can do it in 10 to 15 minutes or half an hour. which you have seen. Now again, if you are a PhD scholar, you are really into a research, I would say take a subscription um, of either Gemini or ChatGPT or Perplexity. Forget about that $20 for per month. It saves a lot and lot of time for you. Try with free versions, but if you see that it doesn't do really well, it's not because they cannot, it's because they are expecting you to get the subscription. Okay, so it can really, really help in doing the autonomous discovery and say section wise multiple paper. It does not do a linear document reading, rather it collates multiple papers together and create abstract out of it, and the comparison benchmarks etc it can do really faster, and it always create a clean citation formatting, uh, which which is a hectic thing for a manual person. So how does actually a deep research agent in Gemini or Perplexity or ChatGPT work? Right, so what they do is they use multiple tools. They do a web search as a tool, as an agent uses web search, go to each of the web pages, see if that web page is relevant to you. If it is relevant, then only it reads the whole content. Then it once again verify whether that content is genuine, is it they have created it from other sources etc. Then evaluate, and finally each of the paper it consolidates and creates a report. So it's an iterative loop. It's not just one looking at a page. That's why it's taking time. It always does reevaluation, re-verification of every content it fetches before it creates the final report for you. So it's like, that's why it is called deep research agents. Okay. uh, Now it can create automatically structured matrices, say based on you do multiple researches, right? So for each of the research it can create based what is a core, based on core topic, based on the core data set, based on the benchmarks, you can get the reports, right? So grouping research methods based on architecture and approach you can do. You can identify or you can group them based on the gap identified. It depends on what way you want to do a research. Is it based on method you want to group papers? Is based on the results you want to group? It's all about how you instruct those things in the prompt anatomy we described. And scholarly writing or paper writing, which is, we all know that you all will be using maybe overleaf or latex for content creation, and it's a very hectic job to create proper uh, paper for say for IEEE format or for Springer format or ACM format or a specific conference format. It's really, really hard, but with an AI, even Gemini can create latex content as well as it can render the latex contents and show you the PDF. So let's look at Gemini again, and let's see how I want to create a prompt. Now now create a optimized prompt. That I can use an AI to create latex based uh, manuscript content about quantum 6 in an IEEE format for 2 pages. So maybe you can always think of creating the prompt first. So create a session where you rename this session as prompt optimizer or something like that, right? Prompt optimizer. So for every use case, if you don't know how to create a best prompt for it too, based on the anatomy, now you have a space where that LLM behind it knows that okay, this is the uh, four things I need to follow for any use case. It will give you an optimized prompt. Now, if I go to this, I'm pasting that prompt and I'm enabling uh, Canvas. So I should get a latex code, which I can simply copy and go to my overleaf. I hope we all know Overleaf, which is an online uh, latex based manuscript or PPT creation, right? So, in Gemini, you can even download it here itself. But once you have the draft, then you can do it manually. So it will see. I what I can do is go here, copy contents. I'm in Overleaf. Go to new project, blank project. So name it quantum physics. Create a new project, blank project. Entirely replace it with this. See how fast you got a research paper. I'm not talking anything about the research paper content, but you were able to entirely create an IEEE format template and put the contents here in 3 minutes. Now the content, now whatever it has generated may be hallucinated or maybe from old approach. Now, if you know you have done a research, you have done the whole literature survey with AI, now you have done experiments your own, you have the results. You don't need to write your paper by your own. Say people may say you write it, but nowadays it's not the way you should write. You push all the results, all the you tell the agent or AI, this is the conference I am looking for, this is the journal I am looking for, this is the template of it, latest template, which you will get from the conference or journal websites. Push all those things to AI and ask it to write the draft for you. But that is not the final draft. It will entirely create a first version very well in half an hour rather than you spend 3 months to write the first draft, right? I remember in 2020, etc., I used to spend at least 2 to 3 months to write my whole one particular journal manuscript. Then it takes another 3 to 4 months to get it published. That publication is not in your hand, but making the paper writing in 1 week, that you can do it with AI now, right? Now, first draft you get, then you go through each of the line by line and you read whether it has, because you know the way you wanted to create your paper, the structure, the way you want to write the descriptions, you want to create the graph, tables, etc. Now you see if it has created the introduction properly, has it cited all the references you wanted to, it then refine it by interacting with the agent, or smaller changes you can do it manually by typing it here, so that it reduces the time to create the entire manuscript from months to days. And this is something which we really leverage nowadays to create our papers. It takes hardly, say it takes months to do experiments, say 1 month, 2 months to entirely do the whole experiments, curate the results, and put it into a structured form like a table or a slide, something else. Then writing paper is 2 to 3 days for us nowadays. Uh, you can define the language you want to, you can define the tone you want to, and it will do everything for you. It will maintain the equations properly. It will create the alignments properly, everything in detail. So only two things: put maximum context to the agent which is creating the manuscript, as in the results, the literature survey details, the papers you referred, then very importantly the actual results you want, then which conference you want to refer, their latest templates, then an overleaf subscription if you want to continuously recompile an overleaf subscription. Rest everything is the heavy lifting is done by the AI. Right, so I just shown you the demo once. Yeah, input scholarly articles, execute structuring prompts, automap slide frameworks. This is what we just discussed. Now, so we are moving beyond chatbots to agents, right? Whatever you have seen here in Gemini or ChatGPT, it's not just a chatbot. If it is a chatbot, it will not open you. It cannot create you videos. Or if you go to Gemini, it cannot open you LaTeX and render the LaTeX code and run the code and give the paper to download, because it's an agent that based on your requirement, it creates code base, it runs the code, it opens a LaTeX space, it helps you to copy the code, it helps you to push it to drive. So it's not beyond text generation. That is what we are moving from chatbots to agents. So conversational chatbots are nothing but it's static responses, requires manual prompts every single action. We did not say any further prompts here, right? We just said we want to create LaTeX content for quantum physics for an IEEE conference. Rest everything it has done and it has created even the PPT, the content for us. But that's why it's called a multi-step task autonomy. It does everything by splitting the task for itself and doing it, and it will autocorrect all these things. So here, sometimes I have seen what I have seen is sometimes LaTeX code, whatever it creates, the LaTeX code may not be able to render or it will have errors. So the moment it sees an error in the canvas, what it does is it automatically understands the error and it refines the LaTeX code and re-render it. So that's what we are saying here. Self-correction loops. You need not tell that, okay, there is an error, you correct it. It will automatically do that. And continuously task handling. As more and more context you feed, the agent does most of the things by its own without human involves there. So everything you see as of now, ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Claude, they are not just generative AI models or chat spaces. They are agentic systems which can do beyond just text generation. It can act, generate things, and based on that generated things, it can do several other things, right? So I think how an agent works is it's beyond this, but it's mostly based on the user request. It creates a goal setting and it creates an entire plan, step by step plan. Multiple sub plans will be there. Then for each of those things, it will leverage certain tools. So here you have seen it had to create a plan first, then it had to leverage LaTeX coding. So it would have leveraged a coding executor and interpreter to create LaTeX code. Gemini, in everything happens in the backend. Then that code executor is a tool. Then it leverages LaTeX builder as another tool to build the entire LaTeX code and render it using a PDF renderer. Everything you see it on the UI. It looks at the result. If it fails, it again go back to the tool calling and creates again a different LaTeX code and render it again. And the whole system is a loop. Finally, when agent feels that I'm done correctly, it gives the feedback or it gives the response to the user. Then based on the user feedback, it again repeats the same pipeline. So think of building a faculty agent, an AI assistant that entirely behaves, thinks, operates like a engineering faculty member. So it has access to all the course outlines, all the syllabus files, institutional level COPOs, all the previous student history, everything. If you have, or if a system can have, then it's all a matter of just you instruct it to give what you want: lesson plans, assessment mechanisms, accreditation documents, further semesters, evaluation methodologies, anything and everything it can create you for that. And again, consider this as a project you yourself can do, and create an AI assistant, a faculty agent assistant for your department, your college, promote it, and obviously you will see magics there, right? Now, very importantly, assume you are very eager to try and experiment all these things. But what are the things I should take care of it before I push the institutional data, the student data, my own personal data? Or is it very easy that however you do, I I see that we all use very carelessly. I would say most of us use Gemini and ChatGPT very carelessly nowadays. You upload all your family photos, you upload your institutional records, everything without thinking, okay, is it actually violating? When I say you, I did not mean the audience. I mean the general public who has access to Gemini or ChatGPT nowadays, right? We ourselves don't restrict ourselves from not to feed personal details, personal photos, etc. to them, just to see how it edits, etc. We are passing all the most of our private data, but there are so many things you need to restrict when you pass. Either you need to restrict it passing in the free versions, go for an enterprise version or a paid version, which so that they don't use your data, they don't store your data, right? Very importantly, where AI can go wrong, it can logically hallucinate, and it can create non-factual, non-existent reports and studies. That's why we say whatever it creates, consider it as a draft which a junior creates for you. You thoroughly evaluate, thoroughly read, and then only confirm it. And always it can do mathematical calculations mostly wrong. It can create you incorrect URLs or citations, and it may missing details on contemporary breakthroughs. It may even reduce. It can tell you something which is non-existing, right? And especially when it comes to educational vulnerabilities, students bypassing coding and writing process entirely, critical thinking atrophy. So they will do all the content creation using AI. You will verify all the contents using AI. There is no actual human brain involved, which is something I'm not a person who can actually say how you will uh, solve that problem effectively, but it's a process to evolve. And inherent bias encoded with model training biases, especially the models which you currently see, Gemini, Anthropic, OpenAI, they are all are Western based, so they may not really know the Indian context. Really, they may not know the sovereign things, so there could be always a bias. Uh, then educators deploying unverified lesson structures blindly. Say this is what in our hand, whatever it creates as a lesson plan, lecture notes, etc. You need to invest the time in reading those and evaluating those rather than creating those. Creation, it they will do, AI will do, but you are investing all your time to read and critique and verify it, right? Now, very, very important: privacy, security, and institutional data. Public commercial AI engines log and train on every prompt submission, right? So, protect institutional assets. This is very important, especially PII. PII means personal identifier indications, or it's like name, address, phone number, ID card number, anything that can connect to an individual's details. So don't push anything that has student names, student ID numbers, student address, phone number. Very, very careful. Don't send anything. Then you will think, okay, then how will I do an analysis on the mark sheet? You don't need to put Harikrishnan as a name, right? You can put student 1, student 2, student 3, student 4, or you can create against each of the student, you have you can create a dynamic ID for each of them, or not the actual ID, rather a synthetic ID for them, and add that and then push it to AI for any analysis, so that none of the actual details are revealed, right? And unpublished scholarly studies, proprietary research drafts, or core grant methods. I mean, when you write something for a patent, publication records you can always, because it is coming as public, but patents or grant documents, uh, try to restrict the way you push every details to this. And sensitive institutional materials like uh, exam papers, this, don't push any scanned exam papers directly to it. Maybe mask the institution details, the student details, etc., then only you can send. Then always no internal emails, etc., to be pushed, right? So always recommended practices is, as I said, data redaction is one of the important thing you need to do. Swap the real names with placeholders, and turn on model improvement settings in platform. uh, Turn off, which is like, there is always a checkbox in every model. I think which I don't think I'll be able to show, but there is always a place in every Gemini, ChatGPT, Perplexity, everywhere you can go and disable the model improvement settings. That is, it's always something ticked there which says that they automatically take all the prompts, all the content you pass for improvement of their model, training and improvement of their model. So, but you can always go and disable that option so that they don't use and save your data, right? And also access enterprise model license. So, if the institute or the department feels that AI can actually increase the productivity of teachers, is the institution's responsibility to take enterprise license. Say you are not using gmail.com domains, right? You are using cmat at ac.in, enterprise educational domain for emails. Why? Why don't you use the free Gmail? Because it has so many sensitive information, and it's an institution. Same way, every institution has to take a bare minimum. If you want your professors, if you want your teachers to leverage AI for better productivity, better research, better academical, better administrative works, you can't assume that okay, they will pay from their pocket and they will, or they will use free systems and they will bring the, or make the value add. Rather, start with subscriptions, smaller subscription on a smaller group, whoever is actually doing it really well, monitor them how well they are doing, then scale it. That is optimal way. Having enterprise level uh, licenses, right? So a practical framework for a faculty educator who always define the goals. AI system helps to accelerate that work. Then you verify, always critic, always give feedback before consume it. This is the whole principle you need to follow. Whatever AI tool you use, whatever we introduce now, the way of using is same. Way of you act on top of the content it creates differ. If you blindly believe its contents, you are going to create gibberish things. You are going to push lot of unnecessary documents, unnecessary content to your students, to your peers. Your role is to become an entire validator and verifier to refine and be responsible the way you use AI. Having said that, uh, this may be, I don't want to comment on this, but having said that, I would like to close the session, but I'll be really, really happy if anyone has questions on the things which we discussed. Yeah, I'll be open to questions now. Manjumati. Being a scholar as well as a faculty, which paid AI tool is good? Ma'am, I think I mentioned this. Uh, there isn't any one tool that is really good at, or we can't really say. But if you avail Gemini, the good thing is if you take Gemini Pro subscription, you're not just getting a Gemini chat space, rather you get the paid subscription to Notebook LM also. You get the entire AI landscape of Google Workspace. So Gemini can be one option. If your focus is on research, deep research, go to Perplexity, get the Perplexity subscription, because Perplexity deep research is really good. And you can switch the models there. You can use Gemini models there, Anthropic models there, OpenAI models there. But unless and until we take all the subscriptions and use, so it's like comparing which SIM card I should use, right? It's the same analogy. I cannot say, okay, you use always VI or use always Geo. It's a personal preference. After, it's about experience, how you switch from Geo to BSNL, you switch from BSNL to VI, right? It's only after you use one. It's the same because there are multiple providers nowadays. We can't say one is better than the other unless you experience one. But it's always try to get one, regardless of what it is. Try to use it. Then maybe after a couple of months, change that subscription to another one. Then you will come to know which one works better for you. Then you can decide.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions?
This is an interactive session. If you don't have any questions, let's wind up the session. Thank you, Harikrishnan sir, for delivering such an insightful and inspiring session on generative AI for educators. Your presentation helped us understand the transformative role of artificial intelligence in modern education. The practical examples, valuable insight, and future perspectives you shared have given us a deeper understanding of how educators can effectively integrate AI into teaching and learning. Once again, thank you, sir, for your energy session. Thank you all. We shall now conclude this session. The next session will commence at 2 p.m. by Dr. Raju, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir.
Bye.
GR